Star Trek, Khan takes place in two different time periods after Star Trek, the original series and during the first 6 Star Trek movies. An original dramatic narrative podcast, Star Trek, Khan reveals what happened during Khan Noonien Singh's, Naveen Andrews' exile on the doomed world of Ceti Alpha V. Khan, Ricardo Montalban, was introduced in Star Trek, the original series Season 1, Episode 22, Space Seed. A genetically engineered warlord who once ruled much of Earth, Khan was awoken from his cryogenic sleep by Captain James T. Kirk, William Shatner, and the USS Enterprise. Soon, Khan and his augment followers attempted to hijack the Starship Enterprise with the help of the infatuated Starfleet historian, Lieutenant Marla McGivers, Madeleine Roux. Kirk defeated Khan and exiled him, along with his 70 followers and McGivers, to the planet Ceti Alpha V. Almost 2 decades later, Khan was able to hijack the USS Reliant to seek his revenge on Admiral Kirk in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Kirk outwitted Khan once more, and the super-villain detonated his stolen Genesis device, killing himself in the process, although Kirk and the Enterprise managed to escape. Star Trek, Khan reveals a new investigation into what really happened to Khan and his followers on Ceti Alpha V, taking audiences from one present day to the past, when Khan endured numerous tragedies on the world he hoped to conquer and make his own. When Star Trek, Khan's present day takes place. Tuvok serves Captain Sulu T on the bridge of the USS Excelsior while Captain Janeway watches the two during the Star Trek, Voyager episode, Flashback. Star Trek, Khan utilizes a framing device via a Starfleet investigation that takes place in late 2293 or early 2294. Dr. Rosalind Lear, Sonia Cassidy, gains Starfleet's permission to return to Ceti Alpha V to find the tapes Khan left behind documenting his ordeal. 2293 is a pivotal year in the 23rd century. Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country takes place that year, which enabled peace between the United Federation of Planets and the Klingon Empire. Later in 2293, the USS Enterprise B launched. Aboard the Federation's new flagship was Captain Kirk, who seemingly died saving the Enterprise from the Nexus. In Star Trek, Khan, Captain Hikaru Sulu, George Takei, establishes that Kirk's death was 3 months ago. Star Trek, Voyager Season 3, Episode 2, Flashback, revealed that Tuvok, Tim Russ, was an ensign serving aboard Captain Sulu's USS Excelsior during the events of Star Trek VI. Both Ensign Tuvok and Captain Sulu play key roles in Star Trek, Khan's framing timeline. Sulu commands the USS Excelsior to Ceti Alpha V, and Tuvok accompanies Dr. Lear to the planet to find Khan's tapes, while serving as the researcher's liaison to the starship. When Star Trek, Khan's flashbacks happen. Khan and Kirk. The meat of Star Trek, Khan's story is the pivotal events that took place on Ceti Alpha V. Khan's awakening, attempted takeover of the USS Enterprise, and subsequent exile in Star Trek. The original series happened in 2267 after his Botany Bay vessel was intercepted in space by Kirk's starship. The Ceti Alpha V flashbacks in Star Trek, Khan Episode 1, Paradise, begin over 70 days after Khan and his people arrive on what was originally a lush planet teeming with life. Khan's people began developing Ceti Alpha V using their available resources and with the help of a medlab provided by Captain Kirk. In Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Khan reveals that 6 months after the augments came to Ceti Alpha V, the neighboring planet Ceti Alpha 6 exploded. The destruction shifted Ceti Alpha V's orbit, quickly turning what was a Class M paradise into a hostile and barren desert wasteland. Star Trek, Khan Episode 1 gives the unsuspecting Khan and his people a mere 4 months before their optimistic lives are irrevocably devastated by Ceti Alpha 6. Until then, Khan has a bold vision to remake Ceti Alpha V, including building a coliseum. Star Trek, Khan 2 timelines will cover 18 years of the villain's exile. Khan screaming in Star Trek. Star Trek often simplifies Khan's return in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan as happening 20 years after his exile on Ceti Alpha V. However, Star Trek II takes place in 2285, and that is 18 years after the events of Star Trek, the original series, Space Seed, in 2293. Of course, 18 years of eking out a grim life of survival in the ruins of Ceti Alpha V, watching numerous members of his people die, including his wife, Marla McGivers, drove Khan mad. Khan fixated his hatred and thirst for vengeance on Captain Kirk. Star Trek, Khan will also eventually reveal how Khan discovers the Ceti eels, the only indigenous lifeform that survived the transformation of Ceti Alpha V. The Ceti eels tortured many of Khan's followers, leading to madness and death. Star Trek, Khan's framing sequence taking place in 2293 or 2294 means Dr. Rosalind Lear's investigation into what happened on Seti Alpha V commences 8 or 9 years after Khan Noonien Singh perished from detonating the Genesis device aboard the USS Reliant in 2295. Where was Captain Kirk during Khan's 18-year exile on Seti Alpha V? Star Trek Generations James Kirk Captain's Chair. In the 18 years between Star Trek, the original series, and Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Captain Kirk completed his 5-year mission leading the USS Enterprise. Kirk was promoted to Rear Admiral and became Chief of Starfleet Operations. In the 2270s, Admiral Kirk took over command of the refitted USS Enterprise from Captain Will Decker, Stephen Collins, to intercept VGER, which was headed towards Earth in Star Trek, the motion picture. Kirk is believed to have then led a second 5-year mission aboard the Enterprise. As depicted in the Nexus scenes in Star Trek Generations, Admiral Kirk attempted to retire from Starfleet in the early 2280s and live a quiet country life in Idado with a woman named Antonia. However, Kirk couldn't stay idle, and he chose to return to Starfleet. This brings Kirk up to the start of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.